Our first story here on Joy News Prime. An Accra High Court hearing the case challenging implementation of the revenue monitoring deal between the government of Ghana and Kelly GVG has given the Ghana Revenue Authority the opportunity to file arguments in opposition to a request for an injunction. Two citizens, Sarah Asafuije and Maximus Ametogo, are praying the court to stop implementation of the real-time traffic monitoring of mobile phone communication, saying it breaches the right to privacy of users. The court had earlier disposed of a separate case filed by John Atubonfo, Nana Adom Kain and the Citizens Ghana Movement, demanding the contract documents relating to the agreement. This request was granted, with the court fixing July 9 for the Communications Ministry to comply. Lawyers for the GRA, which is a defendant to the suit on Thursday, asked for permission to react to the push by the two citizens for a temporary halt on the revenue monitoring deal. The minority in Parliament has condemned the dissolution of the Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company Board, claiming it's a cover-up by the President and Energy Minister of alleged corrupt acts at the company. The sector ministry on Wednesday announced the dissolution of the board weeks after it had passed a resolution indicting the Chief Executive Officer, Francis Asiam. Ranking member on Parliament's Mines and Energy Committee, Adams Mutoakilu, is serving notice a future NDC government will re-investigate alleged breaches of Procurement Act by the CEO and bring officials to book.
It's a sad day for Mother Ghana. Very sad. It's just purely a cover-up. It's purely a cover-up by the president to cover up the rot at Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company.
Why would the president be interested in covering it up? Francis Asiam, to protect her?
Yeah, to protect Francis Asiam. That's the CEO of the company. Because a board has raised certain legitimate issues. Set up a committee. She refused to respond. She refused to respond to the queries that was put to her by the board. And the board took an action. Then the minister set up a committee to investigate. And they were given 2 weeks to produce the report. As we speak, we don't even know whether the report has been submitted. And all of a sudden, the board is dissolved. This is a tactic to cover up for the CEO, Francis Asiam. It is evident.
Why is a suspicion that the CEO has done something wrong, which even the president and the minister wouldn't want?
I can confidently say the CEO breached the Public Procurement Act. And as a minority, I had promised we'll be coming up with our own report. We'll finalize it this weekend, and next week we'll bring the report out for the public, the media, and everybody to see what happened and why the board raised those issues and whether it breaches the Public Procurement Act or not.
And your suspicion is that the minister was also involved in this, breaches?
As at the time the board was not working, the minister responsible for energy was a supervisory ministry. And that is why he had the fiat to set up and then to announce on behalf of the president to dissolve. So all actions by the CEO will definitely go to the minister for approval.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Chamber of Petroleum Consumers is also calling for the removal of Francis Asiam as CEO of the company, following the decision of the Energy Ministry to dissolve the board. Executive Secretary Duncan Amwa says a detailed report on investigations into alleged financial malfeasance and procurement breaches against Francis Asiam should be made public.
We are requesting the government to have a second look at the issues. We are equally requesting that a bad precedent to corporate governance in Ghana should not be set, such that all other governing boards of state-owned enterprises would remain gagged by this outcome. If you recall, the board, being part of the company, had found certain adverse findings against the CEO, which they brought to the fore, following which their meeting within the premises was was cancelled by the CEO. The company had to be locked up the full day in May. The board still had to meet outside the premises. Came to a decision to sanction the CEO, ask her to be suspended for a while for investigations to be carried out. Unfortunately, you find the State Enterprises Commission coming to the defense of the CEO, even without the proper investigation having been done at the time. And so it leaves all of us thinking, is there an attempt to cover up another, rot? Is there an attempt to cover up a CEO who is alleged to have procured equipment to the tune of $5 million without the public procurement processes being followed? Is that exactly what is playing out? And unfortunately, what we have heard from the committee, a member of the committee, is that their report in no way cleared the CEO. Unfortunately, we are rather getting a report that says that the boss.
You're also watching Joy News Prime here on the Joy News channel on Multi TV. Now, the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers is entreating government to widely consult before appointing a new chairperson for the Electoral Commission and its 2 vacant deputy positions. Godale believes broad consultation in the appointment process will bolster the confidence of political opponents in the new EC officers. The call follows a removal from office by former EC boss Charlotte Osei and 2 deputies following recommendations by the committee set up by the Chief Justice to probe allegations of misconduct against them. In a statement, the group also cautioned political parties to refrain from comments which have the tendency of influencing the appointing authorities. National Coordinator for Kodeo, Albert Ahing, joins us on the line with more. Thank you for making time, Mr. Ahing. Now, you're calling for broad consultations and yet asking political parties to avoid meddling or stay away from the process. How do you envisage this consultation to take place? Hello, Mr. Ahing.
Hello.
All right. Yes, thank you once again for making time to join us. Now, you are calling for broad consultations in the appointment of a new Electoral Commission chairperson and the 2 deputies, and yet you're asking the political parties.
Yeah, what we are saying is that a decision has been taken. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you, Mr. Ahing. Please go on, Mr. Ahing. We seem to be having some challenges reaching with a line to Mr. Ahing. We're taking a break here on Joy News Prime, but still ahead in the bulletin. All right, it appears we have Mr. Ahing on the line. Yes.
We are agreeing with whatever decision that has been taken by the government.
So you don't have a problem with the removal of the EC chairperson and the 2 deputies, but you're saying that the process in appointing should be done carefully. Hello, Mr. Ahing.
What we are saying is that
yes, I can hear you, Mr. Ahing. We're having challenges with that line. We're taking a break here on Joy News Prime. But still ahead in the bulletin, St. Peter's Senior High School wins National Science and Maths Quiz competition in nail-biting finale to take home the trophy and prize money worth nearly 100,000 Ghana cedis.
I'm so happy. To be in St. Peter's, it's something great. For me, I always say St. Peter's is not a school, it's a religion.
The result left students who were watching the contest live from Adisado College disappointed.
We were sad. Actually, me, after the contest, I was crying, so I had to go and hide in one of the cars.
But the underdogs from West Africa Senior High School were happy. They put up a good fight.
Feeling the best, but I'm feeling very happy because I've become a source of motivation for others. People who dejected by society, they also say, wow, this guy was also that way, we were nothing, and see where God has taken us.
We also have reactions from the schools which contested the finale. The Asokore Mampong Municipal Assembly has assigned 3 more days for the search of 2 persons still missing from last week's floods in Kumasi. 50-year-old Susanna Mansu and 4-year-old Hussein were swept away by floods 7 days ago. Susanna is mother to 4 other kids whose bodies were found at Asabi near Sokori Mampong. Hussein was taken by floodwaters at another location. Divers have since been combing flood-prone areas and water converging points in search of the bodies, but to no avail. MCE for Sokori Mampong, Alhaji Alidu Seidu, tells Love News they are giving the search party 3 more days.
Since Thursday that we experienced the rainfall, we have divers who have been moving from one stream to the other, searching for them. Currently, as of today, we've not heard of anything. We've not gotten them either. So what we intend doing is that we intend adding about 3 days on top before we communicate to the family, because the 2 that are missing, one of the 2 missing ones is part of is a family member of the 3 that are dead out of the 4 now. Then the other one too is part of the other family, which has 1 dead person. So we put in all the measures together. We are committing ourselves to the search. To after 3 days, if we've not found them, then we will communicate with the family.
Deputy Education Minister Dr. Ya Eruchum has disclosed the Ghana Education Service is investigating 26 different cases of alleged sexual harassment at various senior high schools in the country. Responding to questions on the floor of Parliament, he assured the House teachers and other persons found culpable will face the sanctions. He outlined a number of measures to deal with the problem, including sensitization of students.
We have received reports of 26 cases of alleged sexual harassment in selected senior high schools across the country. Investigations are underway in almost all of them by the Ghana Education Service. It must be emphasized that the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service deprecate such conduct if established, and specific provisions are in the Code of Conduct of GS to deal with staff who are found in such situations. Some of the reports have been reviewed and final decisions are pending before the GS Council for approval so that they could be enforced. The Ghana Education Service under the Ministry of Education is determined to revoke the severest of sanctions to serve as deterrent to staff in cases where these allegations are established. In addition, heads of schools are encouraged to intensify guidance and counseling of students to give the students the confidence and the courage to report such cases to authorities for appropriate action. Parent-teacher associations are also being sensitized so that parents can guide their children accordingly to ensure that they could report such behaviors wherever they occur. The National Teaching Council, Mr. Speaker, is the professional regulatory body for teachers, and this agency is also taking steps to ensure that teachers are up to their professional ethics in order to minimize such incidents. Mr. Speaker, it is expected that the combined efforts of these measures should see to the complete elimination of this unfortunate development in our school campuses.
4 teachers have been dismissed from the Ejusumang Senior High School for sexually harassing some female students there. Dr. Educhum is urging the security agencies to take up the issue and bring those culpable to book.
I'm worried and I'm disturbed, and I don't think it's something that we need to countenance in this country. Parents should not send their children to school to be molested by anybody. And therefore, that is something the Ghana Education Service takes seriously. As you just heard, our 4 teachers have been terminated at Ejusuman because they took it seriously that, no, you can't go to school and harass children and get away with it. So we are determined to eliminate this situation from our schools so that children can focus on learning.
But to what extent are you committed to helping push for the enforcement of the law with regards to these issues being crimes, issues of alleged harassment, alleged attempted defilement and all, beyond getting the appointments terminated?
You know,
are you ready to push on that?
The issue is this. If you commit crime, it shouldn't be your employer who should sanction you, and that is it. The employer sanction should be in addition to wherever legal recourse is available to the people of Ghana. That's why in crime they will say that the people versus, right? So the people of Ghana, which in this particular case will be led by the police, they have every right to say that you've committed a crime and we're investigating you and you can go to prison for it. So, and some people have gone to prison for this kind of things. So nobody is of the illusion that is the Ghana Education Service that determines everything, and after they finish, then people go scot-free. No, the police have every right to say that you committed a crime, we'll deal with you.
Would you want to draw the police's attention to this, especially when a report is ready and it's out there as an issue?
The report is widely shared. And invariably, the committees that they form, they have different people that serve on it. So the report is widely shared, and it will be within their authority to take any action that they want to take. Ghana Education Service have done the professional side of things. So everything that is left to the authorities to take any action that they deem fit under the circumstances.
And some of the teachers were actually transferred instead of probably,
it was
their appointments being terminated.
No, it was an investigation. So if they see that given the situation, the best thing to do is transfer, they will transfer. So that means given the fact that was presented to the committee, that was what they thought was deemed fit.
Now joining us on phone right now is Erastus Asaridon, who has been following this the story of the Ijusumang sex scandal. Erastus, what has been the reaction to the sanctions meted out to the teachers involved?
Well, those who came before the committee, victims of this sexual abuse, if you can call it that way, they are saying that they feel that those who were transferred was not in the right direction. In fact, I have been speaking with some of the victims who came before the committee, especially the lady who was made to, lick the manhood of another teacher. And she's saying that all the teachers are very dangerous and they needed not to be transferred to another school, to be dismissed outright. And so that's the reaction that is coming up. Though they welcome the news that some of the teachers have been dismissed, and they feel vindicated because initially they said they suffered vilification. People thought that they were lying against the teachers, but now that the two committees have found them culpable, they feel vindicated. But the abuse goes wider than we think. And so going forward, they want other students to be given the opportunity to be able to air their grievances and be heard.
So, in effect, they're saying that those who have been transferred are still culpable and probably should have also been dismissed outright. Essentially, they're not happy with the transfers.
Exactly. And I spoke with one student, a male student, and he is saying that he got dismissed and, in fact, punished for something he did not do, all because he was working with a girl that one teacher wanted. And so whenever the teacher finds him with a girl, then he's subjected to all manner of punishment for nothing at all. And so they feel that these teachers are the same teachers who are being transferred to another school, and they feel that those students in those schools will also face the same abuse that they have suffered. So they are thinking that a more bigger forum should be created for students to be able to access counseling opportunities and be able to speak up about the abuses.
Have you been able to reach out to any of the guardians of the victims?
Exactly. One mother, one parent I spoke with, in fact, when I was speaking with her, she was at that moment telling the girl to watch the news that they have sanctioned some of the teachers. And so she was very, very happy that indeed something has been done about it, because she said in her own words that when their children come home and they tell them of the abuse, they don't know what to do, because when you complain to the authorities, nothing is done. And sometimes you have to take the children away from the school. One particular parent said he had to take that decision, take the girl away from the school to another school, and then have keen eyes watching her from that particular moment, because he found her daughter in a teacher's profession for 1 week when he thought that a girl was in school. And so they are all calling for a more bigger platform for these students to be able to air their grievances, to be able to come up, for the counseling units within the schools to be strengthened so that more students can come out and talk about their abuses and not be shielded as it has been all over the year.
Now, Erastus, the traditional authority in the town have also been very much involved with in all of this, as in trying to get justice for the victims. What have they also been saying?
Well, Nana Kofi who is the Koswahine of a digital outside the country, but he said that he has been doing, and so he's threatening and the board of director of the school, the PTA, those who made a press conference and said certain things against him, and even tried to tag him that he was sleeping with some of the students. He feels that he has been vindicated. He's going to sue those people when he comes back from the UK. And so he's also referring to the 4 people who have been transferred, the teachers who have been transferred. He says they are very dangerous, in his own words. They are dangerous and they shouldn't have been transferred, but they should have been dismissed.
All right, thank you very much, Rastus Asaridonko, bringing us that update from Kumasi. But we're going to leave you with Nkoswahino Fejusu Nana Kofi Opoku, who has been speaking about this incident.
At the end of the day, thank God I carried the victory. My expectation, I would say yes and I would say no, because the most dangerous ones, they transferred them. They are dangerous because when we went to the committee, all the complaints I took to them, I give them the evidence and everything. They didn't write all these things into their reports. They didn't question them. That's why I call them dangerous, because they are dangerous. Which school they are taking them to? They should go there and do the same thing. They will never stop, because when the investigations are going on, they are still doing it. Even one of the teachers kept one schoolgirl in this room for 4 good days. And then the headmaster, the first one they transferred to Afijase, she knows. And then another one took some of the girls to the hotels every day. I give them the evidence. Even the report came out, they didn't record all those things into their report.
We're taking a break here on Joy News Prime to bring you the business news, but still ahead, we're going to be bringing you all the sights and sounds of the National Science and Maths Quiz Final, which was nicked. The competition was won by St. Peter's Senior High School. But then you're also wondering, the headmaster of Adisador's College, who represented last year in his zebra costume, this time around showed up at the National Theatre, but not in a zebra costume. And you'll be wondering, where was that costume?
Once that issue came up, we had to destroy it to sew uniforms for students. 2 students had 1 each out of that.
We'll bring you all the detail as far as the zebra suit is concerned. Business News is next.
Hello, good evening. Thank you very much for joining me on the business segment. President of Group Indum, Dr. Papakwesi Indum, is proposing a minimum rate for interest on investment to ensure a more sustainable investment industry. According to Dr. Indum, the trend of customers demanding higher rates have been the root cause of the collapse of many financial institutions. Speaking on the sidelines of the launch of the 25th anniversary of Gold Coast Investments, Dr. Papakwesi Indum stressed the need for lower interest rates to protect the financial sector.
The launch of the 25th anniversary celebration of Gold Coast Holding was also marked with the commissioning of a new head office building for the company in Accra, as well as the unveiling of a new logo for the brand. Speaking on the sidelines of the event, President of Group Indum, Dr. Papakwesi Indum, called for a drop in interest rates to protect players in the investment markets.
We want longevity. We want want long-term sustainability. We don't want people making huge promises they can't keep. So as a matter of fact, many people in Ghana have lost their life savings, have lost their monies, because they had fallen prey to all these nice sounding promises of 70%, 50% returns, and so on and so forth. We want that era to be behind us. That's why we need decent but sustainable returns to be given to people. And so our view is T plus 3. That is, Treasury bill plus 3 should be where we put the ceiling. And then if anybody wants a higher return, well, let them go and invest their monies. Let them buy some shares. Let them go and give it to a mutual fund or some other fund, and let them find different ways, but safe ways of investing the money. And if you do it that way, it will grow.
On his part, the Chief Executive Officer of Gold Coast Holding, Kwame Asumenin, revealed that the firm will be exploring other investment areas in the future.
There are new products that we are running, going to bring on board. We have healthcare fund that we think that it will help change the healthcare industry. We're going to be doing more on investment in food security. So we have RISE project that we are investing in, and we hope to expand it and create more opportunities, and also build a lot of tonnage in the system. So these are the kinds of things that we want to do. Of course, we also get into some technology, fintech kind of thing in future.
Sheila Tamaklu for Joy Business.
The Minister for Aviation, Cecilia Dapa, says there are plans to use one of the nation's airports for training pilots in the West African sub-region to improve the aviation industry. The minister made this known when she was awarded the Best Aviation Minister in West Africa by organizers of the West African Travel Fair, WESCO Accra. Sheila Tamaklu reports.
The removal of the 17.5% taxes on domestic flight tickets and the completion of the new Terminal 3 project were among initiatives by the Aviation Ministry that placed Ghana on top of its peers in the sub-region. Addressing the press after receiving the award, the sector minister revealed plans to use one of the country's airports for training personnel in order to address the issue of lack of human resources in the aviation sector.
This area of training of pilots and crew, we don't have any big training school like you have in South Africa, Morocco, or Addis, Ethiopia. We've seen what they have in Egypt, state of the art as well. But for West Africa, we don't have a credible training school. And I believe it's not too late for any country. Ghana is ready, talking to investors to make sure we use one of our airports as the site for training of pilots and crew.
Presenters of the award lauded the effort of the minister and urged her to do more to support the growth of aviation industry in West Africa.
So the award we presented was based on a survey of all the ministers of aviation in West Africa. We shortlisted 2 ministers of aviation, Ghana and Nigeria. And like we said, the issue of VAT removal, Ghana started, then Nigeria followed. And the airport remodeling, Nigeria started, but Ghana had gone far ahead of remodeling their airport. So the minister in the past 12 months has set a big model for other ministers of aviation in West Africa to copy. And we are proud of it, so we are proud to recognize that. And we want other people in West Africa to see what has happened in Ghana in 12 months and also learn how they can take advantage of that.
Sheila Tamaklu for Joy Business.
Now moving on, the Dubai Chamber of Commerce in Ghana says it is committed to increasing the level of the country's food exports into the United Arab Emirates to about $40 million within the next 2 years. Head of the Dubai Chamber in Ghana, Cyril Dakwa, said the chamber aims at making Ghana benefit from this huge food export market. He spoke to Joy Business at a Meet the Farmers Conference held in Accra.
The Meet the Farmers event was organized to help link farmers with investors and the rest of the business community from the Middle East. The main aim is to help Ghanaian farmers to tap into the $400 billion food import market of the United Arab Emirates. Speaking to Joy Business, head of the Dubai Chamber of Commerce, Cyril Dakwa, was looking to offer financial assistance to farmers to enable them scale up their exports.
Currently, food export stands at around 1.2 billion. When you take the UAE as a whole, Ghana's take is merely about $20 million, and we're hoping to move this to about $40 million within the next 2 to 3 years. Now, one key thing that, in my personal opinion, I have realized is local companies usually lack access to finance, and Dubai offers an opportunity for cheaper funds for agriculture-related products. The good thing is there are a few companies, Dubai companies in Ghana, that are working with local companies to enhance trade, finance their business activities, especially in the agricultural space, all in the hope of increasing trade between Ghana and Dubai.
On his part, CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Agribusiness called for the establishment of an agriculture development authority to make the sector attractive for investments.
We need a regulator. Regulator is very, very critical because agriculture now is a trade, no more hobby. There is a trade component of land, trade component of seed, trade component of fertilizers, trade component of machinery, trade component of everything. The facet is trade. And we need a regulator that comes in and regulates. We need a local content policy for the agriculture sector. That has been done to oil and gas. That has been done to telecom communication. Why are we leaving the agriculture sector to struggle? We need strategic policies. All we need from government is to make the enabling environment for the private sector to thrive.
The Meet the Farmers Conference was under the theme, The Role of Government in Agribusiness. Sheila Tamaklu for Joy Business.
And before we go, traders of live birds say their sales have not been affected by the current scare of bird flu outbreak in parts of the country. Veterinary officers have so far destroyed some 5,000 fowls in the eastern region. Karen Dodu reports.
I have business, but the experience is bad food because I found them did Accra. Go out of Accra. If your mom go out of Accra, I have bad experience. But since I started, my experience is sad.
Fred here has been selling fowls for over 20 years. He tells me that notwithstanding news of a bird flu outbreak, his business is doing well.
Oh, it depends.
It has not affected my business so much. On a good day, I can sell close to 100 birds like today.
He believes that a problem can only get out of hand when the flu is not controlled when it spreads in a particular area.
The bird flu is not a problem for us here at the Nima market.
It's almost 22 years today.
Moses is also in the poultry business. However, the story is quite different for him.
In Accra here, we don't have that problem. The number is the same bad chicken. Yeah, normally, we normally lose a lot of customers because when they are afraid to eat, so they don't normal buy like the way they used to buy.
The bird flu, also known as the avian influenza, is often contracted by contact with sick birds and can also be transferred from person to person. In 2015 alone, a total of 76,326 birds were destroyed as a result of the outbreak of the epidemic nationwide. However, some consumers say they are not perturbed over the rising scare.
Best thing is to abstain from it. But with someone like me, I like chicken, I love meat. So the best thing to do is to eat from the right place. Or if I'm cooking myself, I have to make sure I cook it very well.
I do mind because it's going to affect my health. Someday, if not today, someday it's going to affect my health.
Although there is a scare or a suspected bird flu attack in the eastern region, traders here in the Nemo market in Accra say it is yet to affect their businesses. Now they tell me that is a matter of taste and preference, and therefore their customers are not affected by the suspicion. Reporting for Joy Business, Karen Dodu.
That's all by way of business tonight. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Emmanuel Abuachi Viafi. There's more news ahead. Good evening.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. President Akufo-Addo says a strategic partnership between Ghana and South Africa is of utmost importance, as it will empower the business communities of the two countries, as well as enhance the trade and investment relations between them. With West Africa and Africa's population set to reach some 500 million and 2 billion respectively in 20 years, President Akufo-Addo noted that genuine regional and continental markets in Africa should be in the mutual interest of South Africa, the #1 economy on the continent, and Ghana, the gateway to the markets of West Africa. President Akufo-Addo made this known on Thursday when he spoke at the Ghana-South Africa Business Forum held in Pretoria as part of a state visit to South Africa. Touching on the theme for the summit, advancing industrialization through trade and investment, President Akufo-Addo noted that the future economy of Africa cannot be raw material producing and exporting economy of the past, and must be based on value addition and industrial activities. Now, inadequate school infrastructure at the basic school in the West District is affecting teaching and learning. The pupils have outnumbered the furniture at the school. Authorities also complain they lack the needed space to accommodate the rising number of pupils. There's more in this report by Rafiq Salam.
What is math? If they say math, what do you understand the word math? Yes.
Gar Primary School, one of the oldest primary schools in the Upper West region, was established 61 years ago. At its establishment, it was serving at least 15 communities. The number of communities has now been trimmed down to 3 after schools were opened in most of the communities in the environment. The number of pupils, however, continues to rise, as it has a current population of 450 pupils. Head teacher of Gar Primary School, Dara Hawa, who spoke of the challenges they go through teaching in crowded classrooms, and appealed to government and other benevolent organizations to come to their aid.
When you enter the class and see the numbers on one table, and even the space for teachers to move around to inspect each individual child's performance is difficult, very difficult. There are no furniture enough. Even if there are furniture enough, they will not enter the classrooms because the numbers are large. You can have 63 children in a class managed by one teacher. UNICEF have provided us books. We don't have a library to keep those books. If we had, we could always even teach children how to use it.
Previously, teaching at the school was done under untidy and unhygienic conditions, as they had no toilet to respond to nature's call. Thanks to the United Nations Children Fund, UNICEF, which provided them with water, sanitation and hygiene, wash facilities, this challenge no longer exists.
They have trained us to construct tippy taps where we effectively wash our hands under running water. You can see these Veronica buckets. They were provided us by UNICEF. So our children drink from them, wash their hands under running water, and we do the supply of soap for them to always wash their hands. So before a child goes to the kitchen in Gar Primary, the first thing she does or he does is go to the tippy tap or the Veronica bucket and wash their hands.
UNICEF country representative Anne Claire Dufy urged residents of Gar to take the education of their war seriously.
And I want to again congratulate the whole community, the district, the parents, for all the efforts you've been making in fulfilling the rights of children. Clearly today we saw, that students have the confidence to, perform a role play about a very sensitive topic, girls' menstruation. But it's indeed their right to be in school, even when they menstruate. And the fact that you were able to talk about it without any taboo is fantastic.
Warwick's district chief executive recounted the numerous support given to the district by UNICEF, though they still grapple with challenges in education, water, and health.
We are indeed grateful that your visit to the district will raise awareness among people on the need and open the education in the district. This will add to the numerous education we have been carrying across the district.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam, Ga.
Two-time winners, St. Peter's Senior High School nicked the 25th anniversary edition of the National Science and Maths Quiz on Thursday, beating their closest contender, West Africa Senior High School, by solitary point. At the end of it all, the winning school had 45 points, followed by the underdogs going into the final, West Africa Senior High School with 44 and Adisadel College with 39 points. The contest itself had drama, tension, emotion and excitement all wrapped up in one. Nancy Emefajradozi was there to capture it all.
Adisadel College were the favorites going into the final contest, and they made sure everyone who cared to know are aware that they were in it to win.
These two schools, do you think is a competition for you?
None of them. None of them. Because they are the school and we are the college. So we are going to molest them. We are going to bully them. They are not even our potential. So that's the difference between we and them. They are competing among themselves. But we have taken it already. So it's ours. So you can see the boys. But you can see them. They are quiet. But you can see ours. The victory is ours.
Yeah.
And what
Though they held on to the lead by the end of the first round, it became apparent it wasn't going to be a walk in the park by the end of the second. West Africa Senior High School, who were pretty new to the contest, having entered only 3 years ago and now featuring in their very first final, on several occasions demonstrated the brilliance that's earned them the sport.
Alkenes show cis-trans isomerism. Sahine.
Fourth.
You're right.
The contest at some points appeared to be leaning towards the Adenta boys of the Cape Coasters, and it wasn't until the very final round that a slight change in the tide handed St. Peter's the victory.
Last one. A 3-digit odd number between 100 and 200. The product of all my digits is a 2-digit odd cube. My digits are distinct. The sum of my digits is 13. My last digit is an exact square. Yes, Fanny.
149.
That's incorrect. Who rang next? Who rang next? Yeah, go ahead. Yes, Sahine.
Sir, please, madam, please, we have 147.
No. I continue.
The auditorium of the National Theatre erupted with wild cheer. There was also wild jubilation on the St. Peter's campus, where the students were watching the competition on TV. The mood at the Disadel College campus was, however, one of despondency, with the students finding it hard to believe what had happened. The West African senior high school contestants were proud they put up a good fight.
Feeling the best, but I'm feeling very happy because I've become a source of motivation for others. People who dejected by society, they also say, wow, this guy was also that way, we were nothing, and see where God has taken us. So I'm a hope to other people, but also I'm not so happy because it wasn't the ultimate victory. So what can you say?
Multiple prizes, including scholarships, were handed out to several of the competing schools, including WAS, which won second place. In the end, though, it was St. Peter's that took away the trophy and earned the bragging right to a contest that keeps getting better with each passing year. For Joy News, Nancy Emefa Jodosi from the National Theatre, Accra.
So happy as students and both students and authorities at the St. Peter's Senior High School that the headmaster has declared Friday a holiday for the students.
But the only thing is that we made a strategy, and that is to take every contest at a time.
Were you at a point in time disappointed right from the start of this contest to the end? Do you have any moment you feel like, these guys are disappointing us?
No. The only time I think that was the semi-final that one of your people said, St. Peter's was winning in the 60s, that's the marks in the 60s, and then the semi-final they won with 35. So it means that all along they were not getting any stiff competitors, but at least we've won this time with 45, and that means that yes, when we get the competitors, automatically the marks will be spread. But if the people are not there, they are not strong, we'll take theirs as bonus.
So your students have been jubilating right from the beginning of the contest. Will tomorrow be a holiday?
That one is under my sleeve.
Also, what is going to happen from now till the students arrive?
No, in fact, until they arrive, Jama will continue. But then we are wanted to have a 1 week celebration, but because we will soon start with our promotional exams, and over here we don't look for our exams, so there will be a break. So wherever it ends, we'll write our exams, we'll go. When we come back, the 1 week must be fulfilled, so we'll continue from there.
Students on the campus of Disadel College in Cape Coast were so disappointed they lost out that some of them skipped dinner. Central Region correspondent Richard Kojunyako was there.
We were sad. Actually, me, after the contest, I was crying, so I had to go and hide in one of the classes. Round 1, we were leading. Round 2 and round 3, we were leading. But it's like the last round, where unfortunately the other schools showed their powers. They showed how they are so good. But I think it's okay. That's what God has planned. So next year will be coming.
At this moment, the school is very quiet due to how we wanted to win the quiz, and suddenly, from the first 3 rounds, we were leading. But we don't know what happened at the 4th round. But in everything, we are grateful to God for what He has done for us. But I'm sure that next year we will make it and we will bring the cup to Adi School.
We are not afraid of true or false questions because for our quiz boys, they are good. And I don't know why it got to be like that to miss 3 questions.
Well, now you remember the famous zebra jacket of the Disadel College headmaster. Ahead of the grand finale, he told correspondent Richard Kojunyako that he will not wear the coat after some students and old students attributed their defeat to the black and white jacket. Well, the headmaster fulfilled his promise as he was spotted in a white long sleeve and black necktie. Maxwell Agbagba has been finding out from the headmaster what has become of that famous jacket.
Since that rumor and whatever superstition and beliefs, old boys and stakeholders advised me to do away with that. So it's been given to some
students to sew a school shirt.
Wow.
Yeah, never. It doesn't exist as a jacket look. Never. And once that issue came up, we had to destroy it to sew uniforms for students. 2 students had 1 each out of that. They give it to some other students. That's all. So there shouldn't be any issue about jacket, relating to competitions, and it's gone for good. So at least I am now vindicated that jacket never contests quiz competitions and never has any role to play in winning or losing. That's it. God is already in control. So I love Love FM. Yes, I love your station. Joy and Love and ATL FM, all your affiliate networks.
All right, so we put together this video picture montage of the event. Well, the West Africa Senior High School placed second in the 2018 National Science and Maths Quiz with 44 points. Joining us is Jacqueline Johnson-Quay spent some time at the school campus watching round after round with the students. Here is her report.
You were excited, you were hopeful, you have won this, you are bringing this to West African Senior High School. You lost by just a point. How do you feel?
I feel very excited, Papa. Yes. Why? Because we have tried to the finals, which we've never done before.
You will never lose hope. You will never lose hope. Yes, you will never keep the spirit.
A proud student of West Africa Senior High School. I fully support my school. Even though we didn't win, we still have the fame. Next year is our year. But it looks like there's some small cheats. But we will still go through. Next year we'll do.
I'm so much proud of our boys because 1 mark, they've gone far. I love what they did.
And congratulations to St. Peter's Senior High School. In other news, days of dysfunctional traffic lights could soon be over with the design of a single-phase system by a student of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. The equipment gives off all 3 color signals of red, yellow and green from one source, which means reduced production and maintenance cost. Lava Firm's Kwesi Debra interacted with the brain behind the innovation, final year physics student Bruce Christopher Kono.
From the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly to Metropolitan Waste Management Interception, Adum Road, and many other roads aligned with malfunctioning traffic lights. Traffic signals complement human wardens to ensure adherence to safety regulation on the roads. Malfunctioning traffic lights remain a major concern, especially among road users, due to the danger they pose to public safety. In the laboratory, Bruce has been working on cost-effective ways of building and repairing traffic lights.
You know, like when the traffic lights run into a problem, you have to go check all the faces to see which one is the problem. It's so much. So I talked to our supervisor, who supervised the project. It's Dr. Tamaklo and also Dr. Donko, that we have some new LEDs, RGB LEDs,
which represents initials of 3 primary colors: red, green, and blue. The lights are fused together in various ways to reproduce a broad array of colors.
But then in traffic, we don't have anything like blue. So we do away with the blue color. And then we have the green and the red. Then with the primary colors, you have a combination of a little bit of the red and a little bit of the green. Then you have the yellowish color.
And the result is a single-phase traffic light.
Because of the cost of material, you know, with this one you have like everything is cut down by 3. Maintenance is also reduced by 3.
The light is equipped with a GSM chip which reports status of the machine.
The battery is like low or critically low, then it tells you that the battery is low. Then you can use your phone to shut it down. You can use your phone to put it back on. So anywhere you are in the world, you have access to it.
Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
Cocoa farmers at Brekum, in the Brekum municipality of the Brahafo region, are attributing the youth's lack of interest in cocoa farming in the area to excessive bushfires and drought. According to the farmers, most of the youth say they are not ready to record massive losses, as has been the trend. The cocoa farmers were speaking with Joy News' Nestor Kafuajoa at the Biadang Cocoa Nursery site.
Recently, bushfire and drought destroyed many cocoa farms in the Brekum municipality in the Bunuahafu region. Only the persistent elderly cocoa farmers remained in the business after the destruction. Margaret Heniwa and Salome Akusia Efa believe the One Village, One Dam project could mitigate their woes.
The problems we are facing is the weather. For the past 2 years, in fact, we experienced a lot of drought, and that discouraged some of the farmers to stop planting the cocoa. But as the introduction of seedlings and other tree plantings, it has sustained us to maintain our farms.
Farm inputs, especially seedlings and fertilizer, are key in the planting chain. In order to encourage the cocoa farmers to do more, Brekum Municipal Assembly, in collaboration with Ministry of Food and Agriculture, has given out 86,000 improved cocoa seedlings to farmers.
The people of the Brekum municipality are predominantly farmers. For that reason, we, the Municipal Assembly, decided to give them a support. The seedlings, first of all, there were some farmers whose farms burnt somewhere last year, and we decided to give them some support. Others also had some of their seedlings dried up because of the harmattan, and so we have to give them the necessary and the needed support.
The Brekum Municipal Director of Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Anthony Tebi, says they are encouraging the cocoa farmers to plant trees alongside the cocoa seedlings to control bushfires.
The cocoa seedlings were raised to be given to farmers to plant and produce raw materials in order for us to establish a factory for cocoa processing in Brekum, so that we can provide job for our youth. Cocoa is one of the crops that is grown in the rural areas, the surroundings or the outstations of Brekum Township. to get farmers.
Nesta Kafui Ajomas report for Joy News.
Students of Kotebeduako Municipal Assembly Junior High School near Kumasi staged a demonstration today over persistent defecation in their classrooms. The children who marched through the community accused the elderly in the town of perpetrating such despicable acts. Insure FM's Uku Malik has more in the following report.
Girls Prefect Florence Maye says they have endured such acts for far too long.
Like our studies in school, because the time that we used to learn, we use that time to scrub and then scrub the toilets. So when we finish, we cannot finish what we have to do in class. So it wastes our time that we used to learn.
Authorities say the development badly affects academic work, as echoes one of the teachers, Dorothy Oye. She says some teachers are already applying for transfer as a result because several meetings with community leaders over the issue have proved futile.
It's something. You dress up, you get to the school compound, and the first thing you meet is an open defecation, greeting you in your face. Some of the teachers are now fed up, and a few are planning to apply. In fact, some have applied to seek for transfer and leave the school because of that. We come in the morning prepared for academic work, and we have to organize the children to do cleaning of toilets. And sometimes you, the teacher, when you come and meet it like that, you become so devastated. You are not able to, you become so disorganized, and your whole day is spoiled. So when you enter the classroom, how to even put yourself together to start effective teaching and learning becomes an issue.
Assembly member for the Duakon, Emmanuel Drew, admits open defecation in the school and community has persisted for years. He cannot explain how people continue to defile the school despite the presence of a security guard. Mr. Odro hints of an emergency meeting with the chief to find a lasting solution to the challenge.